name is Jason Rykse, and you will be seeing my professional development PowerPoint on technology and readiness. Universal design for learning is the theme, and we will be looking at what this means and how we can implement strategies for useful ways for teaching and learning in the classroom. When you hear this sound, that means that we will flip to the next slide. So at this time, why this topic? The purpose of this presentation is to highlight the meaning of UDL, Universal Design for Learners, and its critical elements that will equip my teaching staff with the technology resources that they can use in their classrooms to help support different learners. The reason I chose this topic is because, according to our research, Glickman did a lot of discussion on how we as leaders need to lead staff and invite them as teachers to learn different ways to explore teaching and to help different learners learn. They talked a lot in the chapter about adult learners, about how we as administrators need to foster that learning. So by doing this topic, I am fostering that type of learning for my staff and just providing them with a new way for maybe some of them they know this already, but a way that they could target these higher and lower learners, which is a big focus that we in our school improvement team have been looking at. So in our school improvement team and district school improvement team, we have been focusing on that very thing, the high and the low learners, and how we can target them. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to be looking at different things that my staff can do to help with this problem that we've been talking about. Also in our book by Glickman, one question that was asked is, what do effective schools look like? Well, in my mind, an effective school, and according to the research in this book also, is we need to analyze data. And we have been doing that as administration. We've been looking at our MAP scores, which will be a big focus from now throughout the next few years, and maybe even longer, depending on how that goes. But we're looking at least 3 years right now. And we are going to be really looking at the data. And that's what we've been doing now. Again, we're looking at right now the low and the high learners, how we can target them. And that is a big reason why I chose this topic. At this point in the presentation, I would have the teachers visit this website, this udlcenter.org, and I would also have them get into small groups. In the groups, I would have them look at and find out what UDL is. Some may know, some may not, and just have a discussion around this topic of UDL, what it is, how we can benefit students with it. At this point, I would have the teachers record on the whiteboard what they came up with, what they learned about UDL, and just have a whole group discussion about UDL and the importance of it and how we as teachers can include it in our instruction and how students would benefit. In this YouTube video, there is a lot of discussion about this very topic of middle and how we need to get away from, as teachers, focusing on those middle students. And in this video, Todd does a very good job of talking about an example with the Air Force and how they, for years, looked at the cockpits of their planes that they started coming up with. They have these these fancy new fighters. They had these cockpits that were designed around the middle or average person, and just talks about and highlights what a problem that was and how the Air Force had to overcome that and the things that they had to go through to get that figured out. So the pictures on this slide, obviously a little funny. My wife had to laugh at them. She's an educator as well, but definitely appropriate when you watch the video as to what this Air Force combated or what they came up against. So we as educators need to be mindful of that. You know, we in the classroom sometimes we teach to that middle child, and how can we develop lessons, strategies that focus on those higher and those lower students so that we are benefiting everybody that's in the classroom. This is one of my favorite websites, Misunderstood Minds is the title of it, and it's actually put on by the public broadcasting company. And I chose this website because it really highlights this topic of middle ground, and how we as educators need to get past that, and how special needs students and students who have different types of abilities, those higher even achieving students, how we as educators just really need to be mindful of that and come up with ways to teach them. So again, just another website that teachers would be able to take a look at and view around this topic of UDL. Some support for this UDL and the research that I did was by Eddie Byrne. Came up with some thoughts in his journal that we need to, as educators, teach curriculum in multiple meaningful ways, so that students are presented with a variety of information and ways to look at a certain topic. One idea that he came up with was tic-tac-toe boards, which actually in my differentiation class I learned about. And basically what that is a teacher comes up with different strategies on how to get to the same goal, and students have a choice on what they would like to do to achieve that goal. So tic-tac-toe boards are a good strategy to kind of come up with this meaningful, different approach to curriculum type thing. Other teachers have used different stations, and you may pick a station, that kind of thing. There's different ways that you could structure it, but just coming up with different ways that gets kids excited and engaged in the curriculum that they're learning is what he was kind of focusing on in his research. And then Katz had some student engagement thoughts, and one thing that she came up with is that throughout her research that she found student engagement decreased, especially for those students that were at the poverty level, which we have a good chunk of our students that meet that requirement, and also students with disabilities. We also have quite a few kids too, so their engagement decreases. So how can we target those types of students? Well, by finding different meaningful ways to get them to get excited and engaged in the curriculum is what she would argue. So again, UDL just kind of offers another approach to get kids excited about the learning that they're doing. The critical elements of UDL, we're going to talk about next in the presentation. We as teachers, when we have UDL, when we practice UDL, we need to have clear goals set for our students. So how can we do that? Planning with learner variability. So again, having lessons that have a variety of ways to get at the same idea or achievement. And the three big things that they talk about in UDL is representation, expression, and engagement. And in the next slide, I'll show you a little bit more about each of those three strategies. But that is the flexible methods that are involved. And then timely progress monitoring. We at our school already complete progress monitoring, but we need to do that timely. in the way that we are giving students good and valuable quick feedback for their learning. Here at this website, they explore this